Hello everyone and welcome back to another video by EonTalk. As always, I'm your host Ian, and today I have another episode of the WHO IS series. Usually in the WHO IS series, we take a look at one specific actor and I introduce some background information and fun facts regarding that actor. However, in today's video, I'll be switching it up a bit and instead be introducing one of, if not the most well-known, renowned director of Korean cinema, Bong Joon-Ho. Before getting into today's episode, I'd just like to give a quick shout out to TVN Movies. TVN Movies provides the latest Korean blockbusters in Asian countries such as Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, and the Philippines, and I'm very happy to be able to present this episode of WHO IS with them. I'll be starting off today's episode of WHO IS with some background stories and facts about director Bong, and be finishing off with my top 5 favorite Bong Joon-Ho movies. Who is this genius of a director? Let's find out by getting into today's episode of WHO IS Bong Joon-Ho. Once you overcome the 1-inch tall barrier of subtitles, you'll be introduced to so many more amazing films. This is the quote director Bong stated during his acceptance speech at the 2020 Golden Globes when Parasite won the Best Foreign Language Film. And he couldn't have said it more eloquently. Language is definitely a huge hurdle when it comes to mainstream adoption of movies, dramas, shows, and even music. However, we've seen lately that this wall is being taken down. K-pop has been a global phenomenon for years, and even K-dramas saw massive reach going beyond not only Korean borders and Asia, but breaking into the Western markets as well. While we've seen these two industries exploding, K-movies has been a niche that's not particularly seen the same amount of global mass exposure. That is, until Parasite. Parasite definitely played a huge role in placing Korean cinema on the map, being the first Korean film to win the Palme d'Or at the 2019 Cannes Film Festival and countless other awards at numerous movie festivals. And I can't not mention it winning not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 Oscars last year. Winning Best Director, Best International Feature Film, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Picture at the 92nd Academy Awards, Bong Joon-ho and Parasite showed Korean cinema is a force not to be reckoned with. Director Bong broke language and cultural barriers with Parasite, but he also globalized the film industry as a whole, bringing on Hollywood actors and staff with his work as well. Take for example the 2013 film Snowpiercer and the 2017 film Okja that showed a blend of Korean and foreign talent, bridging the gap between the two industries. Stepping back a little, who exactly is Bong Joon-ho the person? Before Parasite and his other amazing directorial works, what's his backstory like? Bong Joon-ho was born on September 4th, 1969 in Daegu, South Korea. This makes him 51 years old at the time of recording. He was born into a very artistically talented family. Being the youngest of 4 siblings, Bong Joon-ho's grandfather, Park Tae-won, was a renowned novelist in the 1930s. His father, Bong Sang-gyun, was a professor in the field of arts and was a first-generation graphics designer in Korea who worked on stage settings and subtitles for the National Film Production Center. His brother, Bong Joon-soo, is an English professor at one of the most prestigious colleges in Korea, Seoul National University. He's married to Chung Sun-young, a screenwriter, and his son, Bong Hyo-min, is also a film director. Creativity and artistry is rooted in his family, and being artistic just runs in his blood. From a young age, Bong Joon-ho was into film, and he loved to read movie magazines. Taking from his dad, he loved to draw as well, and was known to be good at drawing cartoons. He attended and graduated from Yonsei University, another highly prestigious school in Seoul, Korea. While serving his mandatory military service, he met Chung Yun-chul, who's also now a director, having directed films such as Marathon, and it was director Chung who suggested he dive deeper into film. Thus, when he completed his military service, Bong co-founded a film club named Yellow Door. This film club was comprised of students from neighboring universities, and it was here where Bong made his first films. Upon graduating in 1995, he went on to complete a 2-year program at the Korean Academy of Film Arts. Bong Joon-ho made his directorial debut in 2000 with the film Barking Dogs Never Bite. However, contrary to the work he put in, the movie was a major flop. It turned in merely 100,000 at the box office, and even Bong said he was very disappointed with the finished product, so much so that he ran out the theater once the credits started coming up. But what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger, and Bong Joon-ho is living proof of that, as just 3 years later, he shook the industry and changed the game forever with his amazing thriller, Memories of Murder. It was with this movie that he first worked with Song Kang-ho, and the rest is history. Bong Joon-Ho is known for being extremely detailed. His nickname is Bongtail, which is a combination of his name, Bong, plus tail from detail. He got his nickname while filming Memories of Murder from the production crew. To show how meticulous he is, during the scene of putting the bandage on the schoolgirl in Memories of Murder, he said the viscosity of the bandage can't be too high as the bandages that were used back then weren't up to the standard as they are now. Thus, it was touched and rubbed down to reduce the stickiness. This is something that could have been overlooked, but a detail that Bong felt needed to be gotten down to the T. He even paid attention to the shape and size of the rocks that were put into the stockings. Bong Joon-ho also draws out storyboards for every single shot of every single scenes of his films himself. Quote, "I actually storyboard to quell my own anxiety. I only feel safe when I have all the shots of the day storyboarded in my palm. Whenever I go to set without storyboards, I feel like I'm standing in the middle of Grand Central Terminal wearing only my underwear." Remember how I said earlier that he was very artistic? Well, it shows here. However, he admitted he didn't like the nickname, Bongtail. He says it makes him sound like he's hard to work with and makes the audience pay attention to and try to figure out only the sophistication and interpretation of his work and not look at the grander theme. Bong Joon-ho believes that there comes a turnover point during production between the actor and the director. During pre-production and scriptwriting, the director knows and understands more about the story and the characters, but there comes a point during production when the actor completely indulges in the character and can understand a lot more. In the case of Memories of Murder, this came when Song Kang-ho had the ad-lib, 밥은 먹고 다니냐, or in translation, do you just get up in the morning too? This wasn't something Bong had planned, but something he relied on Song Kang-ho to come up with, as Song Kang-ho at this point better understood the character of Detective Park. Another incredible film directed by Bong was The Host. The production budget for this film was only $11 million, which was at the time near impossible to get the CGI with that budget. Thus, Mr. Bong studied the skill on his own to gain the knowledge so that he can get the effects with the minimum budget spent. There were only 125 scenes that actually had the monster, showing how great of a storyteller Bong is, not having to rely on CGI to tell his stories. The ending of Mother is regarded as one of the most memorable scenes. The scene of the people dancing inside the bus with the sunset was filmed after Bong calculated for a day when the sun was at a low altitude for an extended amount of time. And in another scene in Mother, Kim Hye-ja filmed a single scene over 30 times. This just shows how much detailed work he puts in to get just the right shot. In Snowpiercer, he even calculated the distance the bullets will travel during the gunfight scene, and in Okja, the scene of the officials was based on a real image of White House officials. He even requested lookalikes to be casted for the roles. It's all of these details and efforts he puts in combined that gives his movies such greatness and makes it stand out, and if you've seen his work, you'd probably agree that it's unlike any other. His movies are hard to classify into a single genre. Take Parasite for example. His movies are on a class of their own and can be seen as a totally different genre of Bong Joon-ho. And if you haven't seen his work, no worries. I'll be suggesting 5 of my favorite Bong Joon-ho movies. However, due to the time constraint, I won't be giving detailed synopses of the films in this video. Please remember that this list is based on my personal preferences and is totally biased towards my opinions. Okay, that being said, let's get into my list of top 5 favorite Bong Joon-ho movies. Starting off the list, the number 5 film is the 2013 action sci-fi film Snowpiercer. Snowpiercer featured a cast lineup of mainly Hollywood actors Chris Evans, Ed Harris, John Hurt, Tilda Swinton, Jamie Bell, Octavia Spencer, Ewan Bremner, Alison Pill, as well as director Bong's partner in crime Song Kang-ho and another highly talented actress, Go Ah-sung. The movie takes a look at social classes and inequalities that exist between the different classes, which is a quality that can be seen in other Bong Joon-ho works as well. The next movie is a crime thriller released in 2009, Mother. Mother has a very different type of suspense compared to other crime thrillers, and the genre can only be classified as being Bong Joon-ho. Starring Kim Hye-ja and Won Bin, Mother not only kept me entertained throughout its duration, but at the edge of my seat. And the twist it had was what I personally thought made it a must-watch film. Moving on to the number 3 spot, the number 3 movie is the 2006 film, The Host. This is another masterpiece by director Bong that contains various genres. Fantasy, SF, action, and thriller are all elements that can be found in The Host. Starring Song Kang-ho, Pyun Hee-bong, Park Hae-il, Bae Joon-ha, and Go Ah-sung, The Host is a type of film that only Bong Joon-Ho can deliver. It's truly amazing what he was able to create with the limited resources he had. The budget of the film was only $11 million. To put that into perspective compared to other movies that came out in the same year, 300 had a budget of $65 million, and Night at the Museum had a whopping $110 million. That's 10 times as much. Definitely a must watch if you haven't seen it yet. And now just 2 movies left. The number 2 movie is the most recent movie released on this list. You guessed it, Parasite. The winner of 4 Oscars, Parasite shook not only the movie industry in Korea, but the world. It definitely played a crucial role in getting Korean cinema on the map, and I believe it deserves all the glory that it received. Starring Song Kang-ho, Lee Sung-yoon, Cho Ye-jung, Choi Woo-sik, Park So-dam, Lee Jung-eun, and Chang Ye-jin, this is another masterpiece by director Bong that sheds a light on the differences between social classes and is full of details and symbolisms that you can find each time you watch. And finally, the number 1 Bong Joon-ho movie. You may be thinking, shouldn't Parasite be number 1? And that's understandable as it received so much acclamation and won numerous awards. However, there's another movie that started it all for Bong Joon-ho. And if you've seen it, I think you'd probably agree that it deserves a number 1 spot. The number 1 movie directed by Bong Joon-ho is Memories of Murder. Memories of Murder not only changed Bong Joon-ho's life, but the industry of film in Korea as a whole. His prior work to this, which was his directorial debut, Barking Dogs Never Bite, flopped big time, recording merely 100K at the box office. However, he totally shifted the momentum with Memories of Murder, and this must-watch film is regarded as the best movie in the 100-year history of Korean cinema. If you have not gotten the chance to bless yourself with this masterpiece, get to it ASAP. And that's it for today's Who Is episode on Bong Joon-ho. I hope you were able to learn something new about director Bong, and if you have a request for the next person to be featured on Who Is, be sure to leave a comment and let me know. I sincerely thank everyone that watched the video till the end, and I'd like to give a last shout out to TV and Movies for making this episode possible. If you are also a lover of Korean movies like me, please join me and TV and Movies, home of Korean Blockbusters, on social media. If you would like to further communicate with me as well as other K-movie fans, join the EonTalk Telegram, linked in the descriptions. Also, support me on Patreon if you would like to help me make more diverse content. Once again, thank you to everyone that watched till the end, and I'll see you guys in the next one.